Good afternoon. I welcome you all on this education conclave. I request all the panelists, Dr. Suhas Buddhe from BioCare Limited to be on the stage, Sri Atul Pandey, our Vice Chancellor, Dr. Subhash Chaudhary. Then we have Dr. Bhimrai Maitri from the IIM Nagpur, Dr. Pramod Padole from VNIT. Padole sir is not there. Dr. Vinod Mohitkar, Director Technical Education, Government of Maharashtra. Yes, Dr. Padole also has come. Please join, sir. Nikhilesh Guse, he is an expert in AI from Mumbai. And of course, the chief guest of today's function, Padma Vibhushan, Dr. Anil Kakodkar ji. Please welcome Dr. Anil Kakodkar ji. We are humbled by your presence and honored to have you join us at this remarkable occasion. Welcome, and let this day be a remember in our life. We come together today not just for an event, but for the celebration of a human connection and pursuit of greater purpose. Our mentor, leader, and the visionary, Honorable Shri Nitin Gadkari ji, has given us this platform. Let us make most of it and for the development of the Vidarbha. We are honored to have galaxies of guests here who have achieved great success in their life and their field, and we are inspired by all of you. Now I request Renuka ji to introduce Padma Vibhushan, Dr. Anil Kakodkar ji, to the audience.
We are indeed blessed to have with us the eminent nuclear physicist Padma Vibhushan, Dr. Anil Kakodji, here amongst us today. I'm sure he needs no introduction for you all sitting here. However, to do the formalities, Dr. Anil Kakodkar received his Padma Shri in 1998, Padma Vibhushan in 1999, and the Padma Vibhushan in 2009. He obtained his BE in Mechanical Engineering from Bombay University in 1963 and MSc in Experimental Stress Analysis from Nottingham University in 1969. He joined the Bhabha Atomic Research Center in 1964, became the director of BARC in the year 1996, and the chairman of Atomic Energy Commission and secretary to the Government of India, Department of Atomic Energy during the years 2000 to 2009. India's atomic energy program received significant boost through contributions and leadership of Dr. Kakodkar. He conceptualized and built Dhruv, one of the largest research reactor sand, and was among the key top individuals responsible for the peaceful nuclear explosion experiment in the year 1974 and nuclear weapons test in 1998 at Pokhran. I mean, that was the turning point with respect to our defense system. He also pioneered indigenous development of PHWR, power reactor system, and design and development of AHWR that would use thorium. Dr. Kakodkar has been felicitated with all the 3 Padma Awards besides numerous others. He is presently the Chancellor of Homi Bhabha National Institute and Director of ECAGRID Global Research Innovation and Developmental Foundation, the Chairman of Maharashtra Knowledge Corporation Limited and Chairman of Gramangal. He is on the committee of several other organizations in the country, and we request that we felicitate Dr. Anil Kakodkar with our token of appreciation. I would request Shri Sanjay Agrawal, is he there? किसके साथ? संजय अग्रवाल बोला ना मैंने, कहाँ है वो? I would request Dr. Sanjay Agrawal ji. नहीं, आपका ही तो. I would request Dr. Pramod Pampatwar to felicitate and welcome Dr. Anil Kakodkar ji. A huge round of applause for them, please. We are honored to have you here, sir.
Well, good afternoon. Let me first of all express my gratitude to the organizers of this very important event, Khasdar Mahotsav, with focus on Advantage Vidarbha. And we are sitting in a session where we are primarily looking at what is it that we can do through the means of good quality education in carrying the development further, taking Vidarbha forward and realizing the Advantage Vidarbha. Now it's clear that, you want to benefit from the knowledge economy in which we are in today. As a first prerequisite, you must have top quality institutions. Now, there are good institutions in our country as well, just like others. But a look at the top-notch institutions worldwide and in India would reveal that, you put any rating framework or any threshold for evaluation, the number of top-notch institutions in India is very, very small. For example, in this data, you have among the top 500 global rankings, as per the academic ranking of universities. This is a 2019 data. But in 500 top universities of the world, India had only one. Of course, this will change if you take some other ranking system. You can figure out that in top 150 institutions in the world, India has only one. So the first point to recognize is we must build institutions to that level, which will enable knowledge activities to boost our development, boost our quality of life. Now, I'm going to cover this in some detail a little later. But I think we should also recognize that India has had a long tradition of knowledge. In terms of the innate knowledge, India has been second to none. But then, those knowledge activities and the other two segments in the society and the economic activities on the society, there wasn't enough, or even today, there isn't enough engagement between knowledge activity and economy, engagement between knowledge activity and the societal activities. Things are improving. Today, things are much better than what they were earlier. but again, we have miles to go. How do we change the slide? Yeah, okay. Now it's very important to recognize that, economy and society, they are always engaged with each other. Our livelihood depends on economic activities, and that has been a kind of a traditional thing going on for a long, long time. The question is, what is the kind of engagement between the society and the economy? One could be a trading society and a transactional engagement. So now the mindset in a society where everything is determined by transactions, and in contrast, mindset in a society where, of course, transactional mindset or activities is something unavoidable. We will always have them. But more than that, if there is value creation, if there is creation of joy, if there is entrepreneurship, then you are talking about going beyond the normal transactional mindset. And that is the important aspect if you want to move from a normal kind of transactional thinking society to a elevated society where there is the joy of creation. And this engagement between knowledge and the society as well as economy is something that we must understand. We have normally the tendency of putting knowledge on a pedestal. And then we go in the evening, listen to a good discourse. We feel very nice in terms of listening to some good values. But then that evaporates the day you leave the lecture, go back home, get on with your normal activities. This whole thing just evaporates, it doesn't stay. Anything to stay with you, it must be imbibed in your activities, day-to-day activities. And this is where an entrepreneurial society is an important thing to have. And not many people recognize this. We are giving so much of importance to innovation, entrepreneurship, which we must give. But I think this is the fundamental difference in terms of the values in the society that we should be talking about. Next slide. Now, these activities, if I have to look at knowledge activities, I can put them in different layers. I have put it here in 3 layers. One is the old-time activity. You dig raw material or produce raw material in the field and sell it in the market. So the low-value goods you export and high-value goods you import. That also creates a significant economic activity, but it doesn't take the country very far, because in terms of balance of payments, you would usually be on the negative, receiving side. So it is important that we go to the next level. So from the bottommost 3rd level, let's go to the 2nd level. Now, 2nd level is essentially what I call leveraging procedural knowledge. I get technology from somewhere and start my manufacturing. I don't know how the technology has been evolved or what is it based on. If there is a problem, more often than not, I need to get a specialist from outside. Or for that matter, we require so many doctors, so many engineers to run hospitals, to run engineering enterprises. Now, all these people, they are trained leveraging the latest technology, and they provide these services to people in their own specialist areas. But this I would call as leveraging the procedural knowledge which has been evolved. So in terms of the value creation, it's certainly better than the third, but it is still not the highest level that we are seeing today. What we are seeing today we are seeing the frontiers of knowledge have actually got into our industry. Many of our industries, what they call the research-led industries, they create new products, new activities, new value additions, but for that they need R&D inputs as they do that. And this is the new paradigm that is emerging, and this, I think, is happening only in a few countries in the world. Very little of that is happening in India. But this is where the maximum contribution to economy takes place. So we need, particularly our education systems and also our industries, in an interacting atmosphere, we need to graduate from 3 to 2 to 1. Now, can you go back to the previous slide, please? Previous. Yeah. Now you would notice that between these three, the knowledge intensity is different. The number one has the maximum knowledge intensity, and number three has minimum knowledge intensity. Now, you know technology empowers human beings. Now, while technology empowers human beings, the exploitation potential of technology actually increases with higher and higher knowledge content. And that is the challenge of modern science and technology. We make a big difference to economy, but because it contributes to exploitation potential in the hands of those who know, you actually create more disparities. And this is another dimension where education system must address this issue. You know, we need to create, next slide. We need to create a more humane society, even as we create a more capable society, leveraging science, technology, and new knowledge. And this, I put it to you, is singularly missing in our education framework. We don't give enough attention to, for example, liberal arts in technical institute. We do a lot of attention to liberal arts in liberal arts programs, but we don't give enough attention to liberal arts in technology programs, science program. With the net result, you create a specialist in technology or you create a specialist in deep science. He has very little, unless through by way of the family values, one has inculcated some good humane values, but otherwise our education system does not contribute to this. And this is another dimension that we should always think about. Next one. So, when we are talking about a good education system, we are talking about knowledge activities at the cutting edge, at the highest possible level. Something which will contribute to a flourishing research-led industry. Something which will contribute to a lot of economic wealth created out of things like, today we are talking about AI, ML. Tomorrow we could be talking about cyber security. We could be talking about cognition. We could be talking about genetics. We could be talking about new products which are coming out of genetics. And now this is something, is a transition that we need to manage. And already you know that, for example, AI, ML, while it can contribute a lot to the strength, it can also contribute a lot to the problems. Genetic engineering, again, while it can contribute a lot to the strength, it can also contribute a lot to the new problems. And this is where we need to create a society, a knowledge society, where we are able to not only leverage knowledge to the best of possibilities, but also create a society which empowers human beings but exploits none, empowers everybody but exploits none. And this is a big challenge before education environment, I would say all over the world. I'm not talking about only India. But unless we do that, you will have always this problem. We have gone through pandemic, for example. Now, as we go through the development process, as we go through leveraging technology, we also reach some very unstable situations, as we witnessed in pandemic. Why do we witness these unstable situations? That is because we have not paid attention to human values. We have no difficulty in talking about work from home when it comes to IT sector. But when we have the poor artisans working in cities and you declare a lockdown, they have to run for their life, going to villages, having to walk maybe hundreds of kilometers. Some of them have lost their lives. And what is the end result? The end result is you have not recognized. While we say work from home is an important thing, why can't we say work from village is an important thing? And if you do that, a good part of that problem was softened, could have been softened. So this is what I mean by dealing with technology in a more human way. So there are environmental issues, there are ecological issues, there are climate change issues, which are all tending to assume catastrophic dimensions. And unless we, it's no use saying that, well, I'm doing renewable energy, so I have solved the problem of energy sustainability. Far from it. You go in deep and you'll figure out that that is hardly any solution. And unless we learn to look at it in a holistic manner, you will always have this problem of new catastrophes arising. And I think our aim should be to eliminate chance of such catastrophes arising. Now let's talk about value addition. I have given an example. This is typically the data of Stanford University. It's one of those universities which is always in the top rung. Now, you know the number of big companies that have emerged out of Stanford. They have been giving employment to a large number of people. They have been contributing to economy of United States. And the important point to note is the annual contribution to economy through things arising out of Stanford University is of the order of $2.7 trillion every year. One single university. Now, I'm not saying that every university can be Stanford, or for that matter Harvard, or for that matter MIT. But the question is, in United States, you see hundreds of such universities. In India, we hardly find one. And this is the challenge before us, for us to take India forward. Next one. Now, I want to get into the diagnosis of this situation, why this situation is arising. Is there a dearth of money? So there is this data, this is published by this company which does it year after year. We don't talk about it in our country. But this data says that in terms of R&D expenditure in India, our expenditure is larger than countries like Israel, Canada, Sweden, UK, Switzerland, Finland. And you can just compare the products from these countries that we see in Indian markets and try to figure out products from India that you see in the markets of those countries. And you will find that the picture is very, very dismal. The question to ask is, why if India spends more money on R&D, I'm not taking the example of China or United States, I'm taking these countries. If India spends more money for R&D compared to these countries, why can't be better than these countries in terms of technology? So I think we need to do some soul searching, and this is, I have been always talking about this being a cultural problem. You know, we talk big, big things, but when it comes to actually doing, we give some cosmetic treatment and pass on. That should stop. Many times one feels that, you know, maybe India is a large country, too many scientists. So per capita, per full-time engineer, our expenditure may be low, you know, spread thin. None of that kind. In fact, compared to many countries, the per capita expenditure in India is in fact higher. So total expenditure is higher, per capita is higher, but we still have a problem. So I will leave this to all of you, including our respected panel here, to think about this as to what is happening and try to figure out a solution. And then, of course, we all know that the industry investment is quite low. And that is crucial, you know, industry and the academia engagement is the crucial matter. And I'll come to that in a minute. Next one. Now the question is, how do you select our research problem? You must do research. All of us do research. In university, there are UGC guidelines. How many papers must be published? What should be, you know, all that, and your promotion depends on that. So, in spite of this, why there is this problem? And can you, next one? Next, 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 next. So, you could do research of different kinds. You could do research which takes the fundamental knowledge to a much higher level. Very important. That is how knowledge frontiers get expanded. You could also do research like Edison did. He kept on trying and developed an incandescent lamp. And you know how important that development was for humanity. So you have one quadrant which is formed by quest for fundamental understanding and consideration for use. On one side, you have emphasis on very fundamental knowledge activity. On the other side, you have pure applied research. Both are important. But what if you talk about a quadrant which is in between the two? That is called Pasteur's quadrant, where the user-inspired basic research, that's the work that locates at the center of research in an area of basic scientific ignorance that lies at the heart of a social problem. And this is what Louis Pasteur did. He had a very high level of very high quality research, but he made so much of impact on humanity. And so my point is, while you could do research in any one of these three quadrants, we should try to make sure that we push your research into that Pasteur's quadrant. Next. So you push your research both from Bohr's quadrant into Pasteur's quadrant, also from Edison quadrant into Pasteur's quadrant. And then there is a fourth quadrant, which is low on quest for fundamental understanding and also low on consideration for use. And the author, this is actually a paper, scientific paper, and the author says that is research that goes nowhere. And don't take me wrong, don't feel annoyed, but I will put it to you that most of the research in India is in this quadrant. And that is the problem. So we should correct that. Next one. Next. Sorry, back one, previous one. Yeah, okay. Now, let's look at a typical university in India and a typical university or a better university abroad. So one is reflected on the left-hand side and the other is reflected on the right-hand side, which is actually from the University of Tokyo. It's actually a slide borrowed from them. The bottom half, you will find it's identical. We have departments, they have departments. We have PhD program, they have PhD program. But now we are giving emphasis on industry engagement, but most of our universities, the top half, which talks about group R&D, is actually missing. And that is where we have the problem and we need to catch up. Next one. Another important thing is the value system for recognition of performance of people. People will perform based on what is your value system for recognition. If you recognize that the research is counted by, counting papers like we count notes, they will produce so many number of papers and expect that they be rewarded, and then you don't, the quality of the research will be of that kind. On the other hand, if the research is something which contributes deep value to humanity and human development, then, and there is a system that, well, somebody who has done that, you recognize more, regardless of how many papers one has published. You will find that people will be motivated to do the right things. And there are other aspects. So I think this is another thing that we need to talk about. So I come to the last slide. This is a cartoon. Now we all talk about diversity. Diversity has become a buzzword. Environment, diversity, lot of activism happens. But how is our evaluation system? So it is very well depicted by the class teacher who is sitting under a tree, and he has a diverse population of students. We are talking about a forest. So there is an elephant, there is a monkey, there is a fox, and so many of them. Now, the teacher says, no, I have to be democratically correct. So everybody has to have the same examination. Then only I will evaluate them. So he says, what is the examination for you? You climb the tree. And think about it, whether do we do the same thing with our students? And this is what I think we need to correct. And that is where autonomy, good quality teachers who are concerned with the future of students, they all become very important. So I know I should not monopolize this discussion. There is a panel to follow. I had some more slides. So if there is a question that arises, I'll pick them up. Otherwise, I think let's have a good discussion. And it would be interesting. I would like to suggest to organize. Of course, panel should say everything that they would like to say. But it will be interesting if there are interventions from the audience, because I think it will add a lot of value. So with this, I thank you very much and look forward to a good discussion. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Kakodkar. It was indeed enlightening, and I'm sure the young crowd here has learnt a lesson about sustainable development and diversification. I'm sure you all are enlightened, and it would be really nice if you could ask some questions whenever possible. You have such dignitaries amongst you, so do not let go of that opportunity and do ask questions. Feel free to ask them. Thank you so much once again. And with that, now we move on to the felicitation. And to begin with, we have amongst us Dr. Subhash Chaudhary. He is, the main thing is that he is the sponsorer and educational partner for this event, and he is also the Vice Chancellor of Nagpur University. Dr. Subhash Chaudhary has done his graduation in Civil Engineering, PhD, MBA, PGDIM, and PGDOM, DIM. He has guided about 5 students for their PhD thesis, and he has over 36 years of experience in various faculties as an administrator and researcher, and he has published several papers in national and international journals. Under his leadership, the university got the NAC A grade, and it continues to excel in all its various fields and departments. So we are indeed happy to have Dr. Subhash Chaudhary amongst us. Let us felicitate him.
I'll request Dr. Chandra Sanda, Principal, KDK College of Engineering, to felicitate our Vice Chancellor, Dr. Subhash Chaudhary.
We would like to acknowledge and felicitate the presence of Dr. Padole. He is a multifaceted personality. He is a diligent researcher and head of the Mechanical Engineering Department. He is a professor in charge for training and placement, alumni affairs, and he passed out in 1982 after his master's from VGTI. He has done his PhD from VRC. And as I said, he is a multifaceted personality. He is a painter, a cricketer, a singer by passion. So it will be an honor to have you with us today, and we would like to felicitate you, sir.
I request Sri Uday Kamath, ex-chairman, VNIT Alumni Association, to felicitate Dr. Padole. Mr. Kamath is also a director in Manas Agro, which is being mentored by Nitin Gadkari ji.
It is noteworthy that Dr. Padole specializes in machine design, biomechanical engineering, and has guided 17 PhD scholars and has 4 patents to his name. A big round of applause for Dr. Padole. We would now like to felicitate Dr. Bhimraya Maitri, another distinguished personality in our midst today. He is a distinguished academician, researcher, and astute administrator. He has done his PhD from IIT Mumbai. He has served many prestigious institutes like IIM, I'm sorry, I'm not getting the name right. L&T Institute of Project Management, IIM New Delhi, BITS Pilani, and he is an expert in project management, quality management, and supply chain management. Currently, he is the member of UNESCO Committee, Management Studies in AICTE, BIS, advisor at the Ministry of IT, Government of Tamil Nadu. He is an expert on Decision Sciences Institute, Houston, USA. He has been a keynote speaker of Pan-African PMC Cameron. So glad to have you amongst us, Dr. Maitri, and we would like to felicitate you with a token of appreciation.
I request Dr. Prashant Maheshwari, Dean Engineering, RTMNU, to felicitate Dr. Bhimraya Maitri, Director, IIM Nagpur.
Next, we have amongst us Mr. Atul Kumar Pandey. He has done his BCom, Bachelor's in General Law, PG in Economics, and PG Diploma in Business Management. He is the CEO of Eros Group, a family business founded by his father, Sri N.P. Pandey, in 1962, and now a well-diversified group into manufacturing of galvanized heavy structures, auto components, metal and wooden furniture, multiple automobile franchises, retailing of consumer durables, etc. He has been the president of Vidarbha Industries Association for 5 consecutive terms from 2014 to 2019. He is devoted to the cause of HRD and Industry Institute interaction. He is committed to economic growth of the region through cluster development movements. He is on the governing body, board member for 10 years at Government Polytechnic Nagpur, which is the oldest and the mother technical institute of Central India. Welcome, Dr. Atul Kumar Pandey. We would like to felicitate you.
I request Sri Avinash Dorsatwar. Avinash, are you here? Okay, I'll request Dr. Vittal Arajpure, Principal Suryoday College of Engineering, to felicitate Atul Pandey sir, a visionary in the industrial development of Vidarbha, and a great mentor.
Another great luminary present here to guide us all is Dr. Suhas Budhe. He is a PhD in environmental science and engaged in manufacturing of biotechnology-based inputs. He is the founder member of Center for Sustainable Development, Vice President of Vidarbha Industrial Association, and he is on the research member on the board of RTMNU. He is the mentor for IIM Bangalore, and he was the speaker at United Nations Biodiversity Summit. He has received several awards, and like the Award for Business Excellence, the Golden Peacock Award for Eco-Innovation in 2012, the Maharashtra State Best Entrepreneurs Award in 2013, and his company, BioCare India Private Limited, was amongst the top 26 most innovative companies in India in 2014. Welcome, sir. Dr. Suhas Budhe.
I request Dr. Swati Rahate, Dean, Jhulelal Institute of Technology, to felicitate Suhas Budhe, sir.
We are really glad that we have a faculty which is very apt for today's event, where we are trying to forge an industry-academic relationship. All of them, if you have noticed in their CVs, have to do with academics, as well as a lot about the business point of view of an industrial development with academics. So in this line, we have Dr. Vinod Mohitkar, who has a PhD in Engineering and Technology. He has also obtained his Master's Diploma in Business Administration, the financial management aspect of it. He is the Master of Engineering and a Bachelor of early, of course, the Bachelor of Engineering and Masters of Engineering. He has over 23 years of experience in the field of technical education in various capacities as an administrator to a policymaker, and he has been in this field for several years to guide us all on how to forge a relationship between academics and research and industry. Thank you, sir, for being here.
I request Dr. Uma Thakur, madam, to please felicitate Director, Technical Education, Government of Maharashtra, Dr. Vinod Mohitkar.
Please give a big hand Sir has 4 patents to his credit, and he has received several awards and recognitions, namely the C.V. Raman Memorial Award 2012 by Science or Kainat Society of India for worthy contribution to society in the field of science and technology, and Dedicated Service Award in 2018 by the Indian Society for Technical Education for dedicated service in the field of engineering education. Welcome once again, sir. I would like to request, invite and welcome Dr. Nikhilesh Ghushe. Mr. Nikhilesh Ghushe is the co-founder of Acquired Lang, a stealth mode research startup working on the overlap between artificial intelligence and Nyaya Darshan and Sanskrit Vyakaran. I mean, it's a very different subject that he is dealing with, where he is trying to make a language for computers, which will be, as we all are aware, that it is said that Sanskrit is the most compatible language with computers, and Mr. Nikhilesh Ghushe has been working on it, and soon we will have a very Sanskrit compatible computer system available to us. So he has over 20 years of experience with entrepreneurship consulting and software development in healthcare, media and telecom. Previously, he was the CTO at Swastha India, headed the products at Care24, co-founded a media startup and a location-based services company before smartphones. And of course, he has a degree in Bachelor of Technology from IIT Mumbai. So we are glad to have you, sir, and we would like to felicitate you with a token of appreciation.
Looking into his entrepreneurship profile, I would like to felicitate him. So please give a big hand for the youngest person on the panel list, Shri Nikhilesh Ghushe.